Good evening, good night, America. This is the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast that has ever existed in the time-space continuum. And as usual, I am one of your hosts because I don't like the whole co-host moniker. I don't like none of that. I think we're all equal, except for the fact that most of my co-hosts, we usually have a couple more on here, but life is life. They're much shorter than me, and short people have no reason. Short people have no reason. They have little bitty. Never mind. I'm not going to get into the whole song about short people, but I just want to let you know that I am very excited about our episode tonight. And Eric Parker, as usual, joining me. How are you doing tonight, my good man?
Hey, I'm doing great. And your short people intro reminded me of the time that X to the Z exhibit did a diss track for Jermaine Dupri, and it said short people have short. So that was the song you was about to get into. But
yeah,
that's what it reminds me of. It doesn't remind me of the original song. It reminds me of an exhibit diss to Jermaine Dupri. Just want to point that out. That's what it reminds me of.
And before you at me about my short people diss, I believe short people have a place in this world, and that is beneath me. They will always look up to me. And I jest. At any rate, like I said, I'm very excited about our show tonight because here at the Black Powder Podcast, we try to bring you the best of the best in libertarian minds and libertarian people that are doing things, that aren't just sitting here in a chair in their garage talking to you for an hour on Thursday nights. They're actually out there doing stuff.
Well, I'm not in a garage.
Well,
I do see, this is weird, seeing my reflection in the windows getting on my nerves. And I feel like there's someone watching me. I'm going to go close that blind. Sorry
please.
Also want to apologize. I know on the game show, everybody I lost points for having stuff in the background, but disregard all the baby stuff. This is going to be the nursery. So hold on, I'm going to close those blinds. Go ahead.
Long as you don't Mike Tyson us when he fought what's his name?
I'm still here. Just turning that off so you can see my butt. You know what I mean? I'm wearing pants. Well, shorts anyways. But giving you the
I want to apologize to all of our viewers, listeners, and all of that for any references to Eric's behind.
All right. That's how the pros do it right there, folks. You know, perennial podcast hosts. We know what we're doing.
So, like I said, we like to bring you the best and the brightest libertarian minds. And without further ado, we're going to bring one of the best and the brightest in. It is Mr. Larry Sharpe.
How are you, sir?
I'm just happy to be here. How are you?
I am surviving every day, trying to make the world a better place. I keep failing, but I keep trying anyway. So either I'm stupid or I'm stubborn or some combination. I'm not sure which one, but I keep going.
Well, I think that's the New York attitude, because in New York, it's not sink or swim. It's sink or disappear from Earth. It is a dog eat dog. Well, if you can ride the subways, it's a rat eat rat world in New York City.
So here's the weird part about New York State, right? And I know that everyone watching loves government and would like to have lots of government involved in every aspect of their life, and I get that completely. So yes, we have that here in New York. We have tons of government in every single thing. In fact, we have the most government of that possible. California tries, but we beat you. We are ranked the least free state by Cato 5 years in a row. Take that, California. We are number one. And with that in mind, you would say, with all that government, clearly we have an equitable state. No, we have the worst wealth inequality of all 50 states.
Well,
wait a minute.
Well, can I speak for the fourth largest economy in the world?
Because he knows how effective government is. So Eric is shocked by that comment. Yes.
Can you? Is that not the role of government, to make things equitable? Isn't that what is designed by the founding fathers of the Constitution? That was the point, right? Government,
if I remember, I think
there
it was
to make everything fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution where it said government's number one job is to make everything equity, DEI rules. I forgot. Is that the Declaration of Independence? I forgot which one.
It's part of it. It's on page, I think it's page 9, section B.
It's page 9. Thank you. That's what it is. Yes, that's where it is.
Yeah, the fine print.
I want to step in here for a second and interject something. I do not want to start off this podcast bashing the United States government. They love us, and they do everything they can to protect us from ourselves and possibly somebody from Venezuela. Maybe. So I want to. Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, so one thing I hated about New York. So when I travel, I usually take a Glock.
Where did that come from? All of a sudden, I hate New York. I thought we were talking about the government was awesome. Wait a minute.
We want to go back to New York for a second. I don't hate New York, but I hate New York. It's just like I don't love California, but I hate California.
I understand.
It's a hate relationship.
Yeah. When I travel, I usually travel with my Glock 21, and I can't travel to the state of New York with no. And I can't bring a knife with me. I have literally no tools to
do not bring a knife here.
Myself. No, and I'm an older gentleman. You know what I'm saying? I still got some, like I was telling Tub last time we were on, I still got some fists, and I can still throw them. But I'm not trying to take a chance with somebody half my age.
I'm with you.
The fact that you can't defend yourself in New York bothers me to no end.
It is against the law to defend yourself in New York. Now, here is the good part. Crazy. There is something good. There is something good. And that is there has been a minor change. That guy, Daniel Penny, the guy who choked out the guy, he did not go to prison. And I thought he was going to go to prison.
I did too.
He didn't. And he was in Manhattan. And Manhattan is one of the bluest of the deep blue of the deep
liberal
blue. Yes. Yeah. And he did not go to prison. So I think there is a minor change in New York State. You're seeing a little bit of a, do we really have to let everybody wreck everything? They're like, maybe not everything. So there's a little bit of a change. So there's something positive there. That's what I would say.
So we don't got to get into that case. That was a while ago, but was that he was charged with a crime. Did he have a jury of his peers? Or did it,
Yes, he actually. Guy comes onto a subway car, screaming and yelling, taking off his shirt, saying he's going to hurt people. Comes towards a woman. Daniel Penny is a Marine. It's important that this is going to. I hate the fact this is important, but it is important. He's a white guy. So Daniel Penny's a white guy. The guy who came on's a black guy. So Daniel Penny grabs him, holds him. The guy is so aggressive. 2 other guys also have to hold him. Those 2 other guys, not white. So they're all holding him. They hold him down. The guy keeps moving. He stops moving. After he stops moving, Daniel Penny stops choking him, and the guy's dead. So the guy died. Daniel Penny choked him out. So Daniel Penny did kill him. That's true. He did do it. So they come back and they go, wait a minute. Why'd you do it? And they go, well, I thought he was going to hurt people. He was talking about killing people. He was saying that. No one denies he was speaking about that. Everyone says he said that. All the witnesses, he did say that. I'll kill you. I'll kill people. I don't care if I died today. All that kind of good stuff. And of course, our terrible DA here in Manhattan, who's a damn embarrassment, who literally is worthy of scorn, decided, you know what we should do? Let's put that guy in jail. That's a good idea. And let's charge him with murder. I'm not joking. They charged him with murder. After they charged him with murder, I thought he's going to jail for something. And a jury actually said not guilty on all charges. And, and that's not a thing.
I was unheard of. In New York City. I thought in New York, and that was a slam dunk. I gotta stop our discussion right now because I'm kind of upset with this comment.
Okay.
The good thing about New York is that 95 runs through it, and you can get out and head south. Number one, I was on the 95 about 3 days ago, and I could have got out and walked faster than I moved to 95.
Yep.
Number two, if Tub has time to comment, Tub has time to be on the damn podcast.
Thank you, Tub.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tub. You're being called out by everyone.
No, he's dodging me. Tub is
dodging. He is dodging. I think he's afraid of a strong black man speaking libertarian truth, because Tub is questionable. He's down there in Dixie, and I'm not sure. You know, I'm not going to put anything out there about his personal leanings as far as what he thinks about certain people. But I will say this. Tub scares me.
Yep.
He does.
Yep. He's a scary guy.
Tub,
he's a scary guy.
You know, if I was not on the podcast and I heard that about myself, I would definitely want to come on.
I would come on to defend my reputation. Sir,
yeah,
I demand satisfaction.
I will. I'm about to put my glove out, slap him across the face.
Get on here, Tub, if you can.
Now that we've all convalesced and brought ourselves around Tub bashing.
Well, he is a uniter. I mean, he is.
Yeah. That's one of my guys. I love Tub, and you know he's a busy guy. He's serving a higher purpose. Although I don't think there is a much higher purpose than liberty, because that is what we are all born with. And there's been only one entity in the history of mankind that has ever denied liberty to mankind, and that's been government. And that's go ahead.
I was going to say, I do want to point out Tub is actually, I think he's in DC right now, or at least he was posting about it earlier today or earlier in the week. And I envision he's just really mad about all the mean things Trump said about Thomas Massey. So he went to the White House to tell the president how disappointed he is. But I also envision it's Tub standing out front of the White House, and the headlines will be, you know, like The Simpsons. Old man shakes fist at sky or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I want to believe that. Yeah. I want to believe that Tub is yelling at Trump. I do. So I'm going to believe that because it makes me feel good. That's what I'm going to believe.
I feel Tub was there to lobby Higgins congressperson to vote yes on the big beautiful bill today that authorized the United States government to borrow $5 trillion. And increase the Defense Department's budget to $1 trillion. One point, because the
best part about that is you guys know with modern monetary theory, also known as the magic money tree, it doesn't matter. We can just print money all we want. It's all good.
Why not?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good.
And we have two out of the three of us are veterans here. Thank you for your service and volunteering and whatnot. My only military experience is I was in ROTC in college, and it shocked the ever-living crap out of me how wasteful that was back in the 90s. One of the reasons I'm a libertarian to this day was the wastefulness of the whole premise of the United States military. The Pentagon failed its audit to the tune of billions. And every year. And now you're going to give them $1 trillion. And there's one point I want to make. So I just read this index about the top air forces, top 10 air forces in the world. The United States possesses 4 of them.
Wow. It's true. It's true.
The Air Force, Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Army are in the top 10 index of the top
Space Force.
You know, why does Space Force wear earth tone camouflage? That's what I want to know. Shouldn't they be like
black uniforms, like a black hole with stars? Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I like that.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Or whatever the color of, I'm like a SpaceX rocket or satellite or something. You know what I mean?
The fact that all of our modern spacecraft look like for the lack of a better term, penises. I'm not really confident that we're going to get to Mars, because Mars doesn't look like a vagina. You know,
maybe Venus. We'll turn Venus on, and we'll go to Venus instead.
Well, there it is. So, Mr. Sharpe, what did you think about the budget that was passed? I'm sure you were reading about this all day, and I think, was it today or yesterday that it was passed?
It hasn't been passed yet. The Senate has.
Well, I mean, it went through the House.
Right. Yeah.
But the Senate passed by one vote, and there was 2 Republicans that voted against this bill. Yeah,
I think that Thomas Massey has shown us yet again that he just is a bad Republican. He just won't do what they tell him to do. God damn it. Why won't he just do as they say? And he just won't do it. So yeah, yet again disappoints me. He just won't be a team player. That's his problem.
Speaking of disappointing.
Perfect segue.
Oh, perfect segue. All right.
Wait a minute. That doesn't look like DC.
Listen, I'm now here. I would like all you little punks to say it to my face. All right.
We went over the short part. All right. And there's not going to be too many little punks thrown around here. I'm tall, so I'm not a little punk. I'm a big punk.
You are indeed a big punk. Mr. Sharpe, good evening, sir.
How are you, my friend? So good to see you.
I'm doing well. So here's
You're
the
also
issue.
Disappointed in Massey and him not just playing ball and doing what he's supposed to do and following the rules, like you know.
Listen, he's a Republican. He's supposed to just fall in line. There is no walking outside the party.
That's what I'm saying.
So he'll learn. Listen, he's going to learn it at some point. At some point, he's going to learn what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to just fall in line with the man and do what's supposed to happen.
Yep.
And so that's why he certain people from our party would struggle inside of the Republican Party because we don't even have to agree with each other. Never mind, fall in line with.
Correct.
So I did hear some of what was being said right before I got on about how one of these two guys, and Mr. Sharpe, neither one of these two are my friends. I want to make that abundantly clear.
All right.
Okay. I've spent time with Eric and I know Marcus. That's about it at best. But one of you, I thought I heard suggesting that I was up in D.C. promoting the big bill.
Yeah, you were.
And that might have been you were yelling at. I wanted to believe you were yelling at Trump. That's what I wanted to believe.
That's why
I did hear that, Mr. Sharpe. I appreciate that. These other two that are supposed to be my friends.
Well,
we're going.
I said you were yelling. It was an old man yells at sky.
Yeah, that's how far you went with it. Now, so I don't like any of you. Well, I don't like you two. I don't like you two. And
that's just a mean thing to say to Larry and Eric.
No, I did not say. In fact, I counted you as two people right there. All right, I hate you twice. Yes. I hate you with the white hot intensity of two separate people.
I told you, Larry. Didn't I tell you
on like white?
Yeah. You did say that. You did say that.
He would Daniel Penny the hell out of me if he had half a chance.
All right, and then also, did you refer? Why were you afraid of me before we get into the big beautiful bill? Why did you say that you are afraid of me?
You look like a character from Mississippi Burning.
So, listen here.
Damn. Okay.
Listen here, store brand Kumo D. Okay. All right.
Hey, I got the Public Enemy shirt on. Give me my props.
No, but your store brand Kumo D. You're like the ghetto yard sale version of Easy E. All right.
Timu Easy E.
Timu E.
Hey, I have been called Timu Ice Cube. So
okay. Now, were we talking about the big beautiful bill?
Yes,
we were.
Okay, so I just want to jump in. I'll say this real quick. Y'all continue where you were, and I'll catch up.
Thank you,
I did post. I've been trying to avoid all political stuff, like on my Facebook. I'm just tired of all of it. But I did mention that this big beautiful bill thing sure sounds a lot like we have to pass the bill so that we can see what's in it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Great point. Wow, I'm shocked.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Go ahead with what you're doing. I'll catch up now.
So they just became Nancy Pelosi. Look at that. She's more powerful than we've ever thought. When you strike her down, she becomes even more powerful. She becomes
Republican. Oh my God. It's even better.
Yes. She infects the Republican Party when you strike her down. Wow. Impressive.
Isn't it funny how not terribly long ago the Republicans were against big omnibus bills? And now all of a sudden that the bill is red, it's okay.
Well, it does look better being red, so yeah, that's something, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk to the FBI handlers that are watching this right now for me, and pretty much if you don't have one, then
mine listen in.
Yeah. I just want to say I
His
disagree
name
with
is
everything.
Stan.
I disagree with everything Tubb said, and it is a big, beautiful bill. Thank you. God bless America.
Just joking, Stan. Stan, just joking.
Yeah, we're just
kidding. Talking about a Minecraft world, all in Minecraft world. It's not real.
yeah.
It's not
This
real.
is
Yes.
this is all jokes and good times here, but yeah. How about it's for me, one of the reasons, again, I'm a libertarian, is the hypocrisy. Because if Democrats were doing this, the Republicans will be up in arms. Almost every single, I think they had one no vote for the Democrats, voted against this bill. But if it had been Kamala Harris proposing this, they would have gleefully just toed the line and pass this bill and sell it to the American people. Because like in the pregame, Eric and I were talking about, it's all about marketing and naming. The big, beautiful bill, that sounds great. Just like the Patriot Act sounded great. How are you going to be against the Patriot Act? You hate America? You don't want to keep us safe? And
I
that's
don't know why you hate the troops. Why do you
Yeah.
hate the troops?
Why do you hate our freedom? As
You love terrorists.
Yes.
Exactly. And I just don't understand how Americans can fall for this over and over and over again.
True.
And I want to pose a question to Larry. Why can't the Libertarian Party sell that talking point to the American people? Because they're not getting a different product. They're just getting different labels on the same product.
Because the Libertarian Party can't do anything except virtue signal. That's why.
Yeah.
It just wants to virtue signal. The Libertarian Party does not want to actually succeed. It wants to virtue signal. And it does it relatively well, right? I mean, we have been winning arguments and losing elections for 50 years. So we just keep doing that. You see it all the time. The idea is, the second that I would say if I had a plan, I said, hey, here's a plan to do X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter what my plan is. Immediately, full libertarians come out of the woodwork and go, that's not libertarian enough. You're not libertarian enough. You're not a real libertarian. Oh my God, you're a sellout. You're so terrible. We hate you. I'm never come back to the Libertarian Party ever again. I'm not donating ever again. Oh my God. That's it. That's what happens. When we stop doing that, we'll be okay. And I think there was a time that we kind of put away some of our stuff a bit. And that was 2016 Gary Johnson. 2016 Gary Johnson, a lot of libertarians went, I'm actually gonna do something that I could do that I almost never do, and that is I'm just gonna shut up. And we did that during Gary Johnson. A lot of people didn't like Gary Johnson, didn't think he was libertarian enough, but they just said, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna let this go. Hope this guy does something, and I'm gonna shut up. And my advice to many libertarians is remember something. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
You can take the option of just saying nothing. And you might go, well, Larry, do you do that? All the time. Do you see all the stuff that goes in the Libertarian Party that I'm not a part of? There are so many fights in the party that I am not a part of. And they draw me in online. They tag me and bring me in and talk trash about me and insult me all the time. And you do not see me engage because I have an option. I can, if I want to, just shut up. So I would ask other people that when someone's trying to achieve something and you don't like that thing, or you don't think that they're good enough, you do have an option of just shutting up. The problem is they'll go, I got to call it out. No, you don't. You don't have to. You're choosing to because you're self-righteous. So you're choosing to. You don't have to. I hope I answered your question.
Are libertarians, I don't think this is a slang or a bad term at all. Are libertarians too autistic to actually function in the political sphere?
No,
you could have
not
ended
at
that
all.
with our libertarians too autistic. You could have just stopped right there. Anything else, like, yes.
No. Here's the issue. The issue is we have to recognize something, that there is a difference between candidates and supporters and donors and helpers and volunteers and activists. They're not the same person. The problem is our party is so small, we often do all of them. So we get confused. But when you put your candidate hat on, you want to be the person who is able to provide an answer to people. Because when in America, someone's in trouble and they have a bad answer or no answer, they pick the bad answer all the time. So if my response is, let me give you libertarian rhetoric, they go, that's not an answer. I'm going to go with the bad answer. Now, when you're an activist, that's different. Activist's job is to get people to care about the issue. Often rhetoric works well. Often being bombastic works well. That's a good thing for an activist. But when you put that candidate hat on, you're going to take off the activist hat. If the activists have done their jobs well, now there's a space for you, people listen to you, and you give them an actual answer. If you are an activist also, remember that some people are volunteers and not activists. What does that mean? A volunteer says, I'll give you 2 hours a week. I'll give you an hour a week. I'll give you this thing I'll do. An activist says, not good enough. Bust your ass. Be perfect. Keep working. Why? Because they do it. And we need activists, we need more of them. We need them. But if you're an activist, please be nice to volunteers. Volunteers are also very often single issue volunteers. They care about one thing. They came on because they care about the budget, or they care about guns, or they care about medical freedom, or they care about something, right? They care about that one thing. So guess what? They don't agree with you on everything else, do they? They agree with you on the one thing. So take the volunteer for the one thing and don't scold them because they aren't libertarian enough. I never forget this. When I first got into the party, probably in 2011-ish, 2012-ish, in that area, I go to an event, at least 2012, because it was Gary Johnson's first run. So I go to a local libertarian event here in New York. It was Manhattan. And I go to an event, and a young guy shows up to one of our events. Hardly anyone shows up to our events. A young guy does. And he's like, hey, I'm so glad I saw you guys in the meetup, and I'm glad I came here. We're like, oh, great, welcome. And he goes, I just got a quick question. He goes, you guys aren't against NASA, are you? And I thought, I was new, so I just sat back and watched. I thought, oh, okay, they'll be good to him. No, they slaughtered him. Instead of saying, why? Okay, no, let's talk about NASA later. Why'd you come? Did you come because of taxes? Because of God? Why'd you come? Let's talk about NASA tomorrow. Let's talk about right now. Why did you come? Let's talk about what you care about, blah, blah, blah. They did not. They went off on him and what a statist he was and how NASA's a government. Blah, blah, blah. He never came back, of course. So what we should have done is said, oh, no. You're here because taxes? Great. Let's talk about taxes today. We'll deal with NASA later, right? We'll talk about that next week. But today we're going to talk about what you want to talk about. I wish we do more of that. And that is the activists that we need sometimes being overzealous. And that's the autistic part you bring up. Sometimes the autistic person doesn't understand the social cue of let me just be nice to someone and meet them where they are versus let me show them how smart I am and how I'm very right and they're very wrong. As you hear me say often, I don't want to keep debating. I don't want debates. I want conversations. Have you ever seen me debate another libertarian?
No.
I don't think so.
Because I don't. You don't see me debate other libertarians. I don't. Why? Because we agree on 95% of the things. So I'm going to call them all types of names and insult them horribly because we disagree on 5% of the things. On any given stage I'd be on, that person, whoever they are, is going to be 25 times better than any other candidate from the Republicans, Democrats. Why am I going to take a steaming pile on them? Why would I do that?
Yeah,
I'm not doing that. You don't see me.
Speaking of nice people,
I'll moderate them. I moderate a lot of debates, but I'm not in them.
Speaking of nice people, Tub, did you have a question or a comment?
Listen, this is Larry Sharpe. I got a bunch of things. All right, let's be very clear here. So, all right, so here's the thing. So we often say that as we're running, and let me start with candidates and activists are not the same thing.
Correct.
Like we're not the same. That we are different. And what I have suggested, I said, you know what would be nice if a candidate could be running and he could have an issue or a topic, whatever it is. And he could say, hey, this is what I want to drive home. Then it would be nice if the activists could then kind of come and support a candidate.
Yes.
Instead of kind of running contrary. And imagine if those activists went and spoke at this guy's running for city council. Imagine if the activists went in during the public speaking time, public comment time, and spoke on the very things that this candidate is coming out on. Then the candidate could spend his time being a little more focused, a little more on task, and let the activists bring it up, stir it up, do all the issues with it, and be supporting the candidate at the same time. Now, with that, here's what happens. Larry, you and I have said it often, and if we say it, it must be right. That's the way I see it.
True.
If you and I are saying it, the libertarians should just catch on. Okay.
Correct.
And so we have often said about how libertarians have to be able to reach out to the other parties, find the things that we have in common, and get something done with the things we have in common. Now,
Correct.
here's the thing. We also, unfortunately, have to do that inside of our own party. Because
Yes.
that's what you were saying. We don't do that enough. You are very much right about the idea that, oh, wait a minute. I don't know. We agree on this, but I want to talk about the thing we disagree on. I want to fight with you
Yes.
about the thing we disagree on. And
Yes.
I remember the first time I ever spoke at a libertarian event. Remember, Eric, when we went down the first time to convention and they let us speak. And the first thing I did, I didn't even use my time to be like, hey, vote for me. I didn't remember, Eric. I didn't do none of that. I dogged out libertarians. Said, guys, we need to get together. We need to get focused on what we're going to do. We don't have to keep fighting. And I said some pretty rough stuff. And when it was done, Spike comes up to me and we're talking. And I go, listen, I go, they didn't like throw stuff at me and boo me off the stage. He goes, oh, they would have. Like, and he meant that. Like, it's like what you just said. They will indeed turn on you.
Absolutely.
They don't care. And that's been my struggle with the party, especially lately. We seem like we'd rather just fight with each other.
Yep.
We have opportunities of what's happening right now for us to do what you said. Let's go out, let's come together and speak against what's happening with the other two parties right now. But we can't because we're too busy fighting each other, like you said, over the 5%. So do you think a person can unify the party?
100% yes.
Okay.
This is why I focus so much on candidates. And to be clear, for those of you who candidates aren't the be all end all. They are an important part of our movement. In fact, I'd go one step further. The liberty or libertarian movement is even separate from the party. The party is a piece of the movement. You can do wonderful things in liberty and not be part of the party, right? Look what Spike Cohen's doing. He's doing tons of good things. He's not being part of the party. You can do that. I like being part of the party. I like the political aspect of it. So that's where I stay, right? I like going on TV and being behind people. I like doing interviews. So I stay in that world. That's what I'm good at. I like doing that. But the advantage of a candidate, imagine if Ron Paul was able to run again. Imagine if Justin Amash would have run. Imagine if Thomas Massey were to quit the Republican Party and all of a sudden become a libertarian and run. I mean, it would unite. People would get behind. They would do that. So I think it can, but you have to then ask people for something. If you run for office, you have to ask people. I get we don't agree on everything. I get it. Let's move forward on what we agree upon. You got to tell them that. You have to tell them that. You can't defend yourself. You've got to say, I get it. We don't agree on this piece, right? So look, there were a lot of people who just recently we had that Dave just had a debate here in New York, open borders versus closed borders libertarians, right? Okay, so say you're a closed borders libertarian or you're an open borders libertarian, but that's the only thing we disagree upon. Well, it doesn't, then let it go. Remember something, when you're supporting a candidate, here's the hardest part. People ask me, say, Larry, how can you be such a good surrogate for candidates? Because I recognize I'm a surrogate for the candidate, not for me. So when I'm backing Tubb and Tubb says, yeah, I think X, Y, and Z, and I think it's X, Y, and A, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say Tubb has been very clear. It's X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying my opinion. It doesn't matter what I think. Nobody cares what I think. Tubb is running, not me. I only matter when I'm running. When I'm not running, I have to make myself number two. And that's the hardest thing, Tubb. I've got to take my own self that I want to preach to the world and put myself down. Do you think I supported every single thing that Gary Johnson believed? No. But I never said it. I started every sentence. Because remember, every sentence started with, the governor has been very clear. The governor has said more than once. The governor stands this way. I'm not talking about my views. I'm talking about the governor's view. So I don't have to agree with them. And let me tell you, how can you say that? How can you agree with that? I didn't say I did, you moron.
I didn't say anything.
I didn't say I did, you moron. I didn't say I believed it. I am a surrogate for the candidate. I'm saying what the candidate believes. The reporter doesn't care what I think. I'm not running.
Prior to our last convention, I spent a lot of time talking to both sides of our own party. basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Both caucuses and just having conversations back and forth.
So they both hated you?
And I remember they were at convention.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
Yes, to an extent.
It's not
They
hard
both
to
thought I was with the other team.
Yes,
Because
that's why I said
I
they both
would
hated
question.
you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, and it's kind of what you said. It's like, I didn't say that. I'm simply saying that what they said about this makes sense. And that's all I was saying. Trying to find this, hey, let's find what we have in common. Let's get some work done.
Yep.
And I remember being on the floor at convention, and I had this, and there's a former LNC chair came up to, I'll leave it at that, came up to me, and he says, hey, Tub, are you still trying all that kumbaya And I go,
Yep.
yes, I am. He goes,
Yep.
then I have no reason to talk to you. That's exactly what he said.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I looked right at him. I said, you're unhappy with me because I'm trying to find how we can work together and get something accomplished.
How dare you not virtue signal?
That's exactly what it was.
Yes.
And I was so confused by that. And I'm thinking, okay, so at that point I'm going, well, what's wrong with Nick Sarwark? Because that's who it was. So I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And he's like, nope, can't work with them, can't do this, can't do that. I said, what about the things we have? Now, here's the thing. It got so, because I think we like to be separated. I think that we like the fight. Let's be honest. I don't know if the libertarians bring out the argument or arguments. People who like to argue end up libertarians. I don't know how it is, but we all get together. But the problem is we don't, and it's like what Marcus was saying. We don't know enough to go, all right, hang on. Let's focus it out there. There's plenty, like we don't, and I think we become very content about, we're not really worried about having things outside the party. It seems like we're very content on, we want to control the party.
Well, we can't, but the other thing is, we can't imagine ourselves actually making impact. We can't imagine anything better. That's the real issue. Hope is the issue. Here's something. If someone actually believed, wait a minute, our presidential candidate has an actual chance at breaking 5%, or a governor candidate has an actual chance of winning, or our state Senate candidate has an actual chance of winning or making impact. When that happens, we tend to go, oh, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'll be quiet. But we often don't believe it. So why bother? Hope is the critical aspect that the party hasn't had in a very long time. And I think that's a critical piece.
But I'm big on incrementalism. I think that we get a win here, we get a win there. We basically move the ball down the field, constantly keep moving the ball. And unfortunately, we have too many who just say, I want it all right now.
Yeah,
and if I can't have it all right now, we might as well just fight. And I go, wait a minute, why don't we get the small win?
That's a generational thing, because that's millennials and Gen Z and all those people. I call them the microwave generation, because they grew up throwing their food in the microwave and getting satisfaction 30 seconds later after it was done, a minute later after it was done. And then they have an app for every single aspect of their life. They don't have to leave the house for anything. They can have people bring them food for 300% more than what it would have cost you if you got your lazy ass up and drove over there and bought it yourself.
I gotta put pants on, okay? So don't. All right, I'm not doing that. Okay.
Yeah. Eric, what do you got?
You're saying that we're a party of children, basically, because because here's what I explained to even my own boys. My boys are 29 and 27, and I've had to explain to them. I say, listen, I says, yes, you can get things in life, but you work to that point. Okay, like I have a truck. The truck I have, I like my truck. It's the truck. Listen, it took me to be 49 years old basically to get that truck. Okay, my kids and the kids their age all think I get it right now. I deserve all that stuff right now. And so I think you're right, Marcus, that the libertarians in the party, they have this younger mindset that says, I want it all right now. Well, you're not going to get it all right now. And we've wasted 47 years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to be willing to put in the work to get the small wins. Like you have to let Larry run and get 40% of the vote.
I 100% blame Eric for all of the ills of the Libertarian Party.
You should. It's all my fault, really.
True.
No.
True.
I want to point out that, like, I think the biggest problem is whenever someone gets mad and they say, you know what, I'm done with the Libertarian Party or the Liberty Movement. I'm going to take my ball and go home. They don't just take their ball. They take all the equipment, or they try to burn down the goalposts on their way out the door. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, there is the biggest issue. You just brought it up, man. Is you know what? I said earlier, you have the option to just shut up. They won't. And I'll use this as our most recent battles that we had with the Mises Caucus and the CLC. The Mises Caucus would say something bad that nobody would notice because nobody cares what we say. But the CLC would promote it everywhere. So they actually made it worse because they wouldn't just go, okay, forget it. So literally, we made it worse by promoting it everywhere. So both sides are going out of their way to destroy us. And we wonder why we got destroyed.
Well,
yes,
I have my conspiracy theories that, you know, the feds have infiltrated both caucuses and the LP party, and they're listening to us right now. So thank you for subscribing, and you know, hit the likes, hit the subscribe, share this link.
Yeah, just because you're a Fed doesn't mean you can't click the like button.
You can still like this.
You can still like this. Yes.
But no, but seriously, like it almost seems intentional to destroy the party. Like you don't see, and I'm not saying we gotta be like the Republicans or the Democrats, but you don't see the Freedom Caucus arguing with, I don't know, the Log Cabin Republicans or whatever it is. So that might be Democrats. I don't know. The Lincoln Project Republicans. They're not like beefing with each other on Twitter. They're actively trying to help their candidates get elected to office. And if all caucuses and all factions of the party focused on that. Now, outside of the party, get involved with your nonprofit, your activist group, whatever movement, whatever single issue coalition you have, because you will push it way further with help outside of the Libertarian Party on those single issues. So I don't know.
Right.
That's my
so I want to go one step further, right? Like you don't have to take a steaming dump on the person you don't like. That is my biggest issue, right? Look, to be focused, I did not go out of my way to support Joe Jorgensen nor Chase Oliver. Why? I knew both of them could make no impact. Not because I was against either of them. I wasn't. They're both libertarians. It's fine. I voted for Chase and I voted for Joe. But my point is, it doesn't matter. So I didn't bother going out of my way to assist. I did other things with my left, which I thought were more important. And not because they were bad. Their idea of 50 state running is never going to work. It hasn't worked in 50 years. It never will. The idea it was going to work is the one I brought up with Lars Mapstead. Small first, then explode. It's what I did in New York. It's proven to work. Nobody wants to hear that. They want a virtual signal and do all 50 states. Fine, waste of time. But did any of you remember me saying one bad thing about Joe Jorgensen in 2020? No. Did you hear me say one bad thing about Chase Oliver last year? No. I didn't attack them. I just went about my business. I practiced what I preached. If you didn't like Chase and didn't want to vote for him, you could just go not vote for him. To your point, Eric, you don't have to burn everything to the ground. You don't have to attack and destroy and be mean and virtue signaling. You just go, I don't like him. I'm not going to vote for him, and go vote for whoever you want, or don't vote. You don't have to be so damn mean and virtues. It's virtue signaling. I have to show the world that I'm anti-Chase and I'm this, whatever. I don't care.
And in all honesty, you could just not vote for him. You could just shut up. You could just shut up and go vote for somebody else and just leave it alone. So
a lot of people did that because more people voted for RFK Jr. than they did Chase this election cycle.
Absolutely.
But like, you don't have to burn it to the ground to make that point. You could just be like, hey, I'm going to go do this.
So, I guarantee you those were libertarian votes for RFK Jr. too. So,
but here's the thing that they don't get. Here's why they get mad, right? Here's the thing that's the worst part. Is I told them this and you're not listening to me. You're burning down a house that you're going to have to buy back. Why are you burning it down? Right? You're going to have to buy it back.
Because ultimately they want control of it again. So
yes,
you okay. Now you do like what you said. You burnt down the house, and now you're going to build it back up. Like you just you hurt yourself in the process. So here's what was happening because like you mentioned them. You mentioned the two groups, so now I'm free to mention them. So it's funny because like with the Mises people, okay, I tend to agree with Mises people. I like because they're far more conservative. So I tend to go, hey, I'm on board with them. And so what was funny though, there would be things I disagree with, and I had mentioned. I said, listen, I said, and the way I used to phrase it, I said, we need more Mises caucus thinking with more CLC
messaging.
Approach. Because the CLC. So here's what I'll tell you. Like I remember at convention, Jonathan Casey, we all know John from CLC. He came up to me and he stands there and goes, Tub, what can we do? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, how do we fix this? Like his desire. Now he knew that I was more of a Mises guy, even though Mises would never accept me. They kept pushing me aside and kicking me the other way because I questioned why they were saying things or attacking people and not trying to work. They got mad at me for that, even though I was kind of on board with them. So at least Jonathan was coming to me. He's like, hey, how can we fix this? Like, how do we get together? And I did tell him, I said, you need to walk over there and talk to that guy right now. And he goes, I can't. I go, what do you mean you can't? I says, he goes, he won't talk to me.
Yep.
And I go, and there's the problem. And there's the problem. And I told him, we stood there and I says, expect this to be how it goes. I says, because
I want to go one step further with this. Look, the Mises people said, hey, Larry, we want help doing X, Y, and Z. I went, okay. And I helped them. And people said, why'd you help the Mises people? Because they asked me. That was the reason. That was the reason.
Hey,
right? So then when it happened, I went to the CLC. I went to them and I said, oh, do you want some help? They went, no, you're helping Mises. Well, you guys didn't ask me for help. You're still mad at me because I ran against Bill Weld in 2016. I'm not joking. They were still mad at me for that. And I'm like, you're still mad at me for that. So you want help? Let's help. No, I don't want to help. They would get mad at me. And then they would blame me and say, it's my fault. I'll go further. When Angela asked me for help, will you come to a fundraiser? Yes, of course, because the chair asked me, right? Why would you help Angela? I helped Nick too. When Nick asked me, I showed up too. I raised over $100,000 for Bill Weldon and Gary Dustin in 2016 because Nick asked me to. So I did. And now the new chair, Gail asked me, just came back from Michigan, raising money for them. Why? Because he asked me to. Whoever's the chair, I show up. But it wasn't good enough. I had to virtue signal and ignore Angela because she's the evil one. No, they're all chairs, and I'm still part of the party. I'm a lifetime member. I'm going to support the chair, whoever they are. Wasn't good enough. I'm with you, Tub. It's not good enough.
Let me ask you this: why can't the Libertarian Party brand itself and provide the media? Because I talked about this with Lars and how successful his Trump's campaign was, and going to the podcast, to the current media. The legacy media is no longer influential beyond people like Tubb that were born in 1965 or earlier.
74, you idiot. I'm younger than you. All right.
Like I was saying, the old people like Tubb are the only people that truly listen to the legacy media anymore. Why hasn't the Libertarian Party grabbed a hold of the Sharpe Way and the Black Powder podcast, the real libertarian media outlets that are presenting you the simple facts of what is happening in America? Why hasn't the National Party embraced that aspect and bring back LPTV or something to that effect?
Because nobody watched LPTV, and Libertarian Party has no money.
Yeah,
that's the reason.
There you go.
Hey, that is the reason. It has no money. If it had money, it would do it. It has no money.
I kind of want to segue or add on to Marcus's failed attempt at a great question. I'm gonna,
please clean it up for him.
No, I'm gonna one up him here and say, Larry, you've been on the Joe Rogan podcast when you were running for governor of New York.
Yep.
How did you go about getting that? Did you just reach out in an email to his manager? Why?
No, I will tell you why.
Why hasn't Stephen Nikela, the new chair, been invited on there? Why hasn't he been invited on to?
Look, I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why is because the vast majority of libertarians don't have anything to fucking say except rhetoric. That's why they only. Why Joe Rogan had me on? Because he liked my bridge idea. Because he liked my K through 10 policy idea.
Wonderful idea.
He liked my ideas because my ideas aren't libertarian. They aren't. It's not like get rid of it all. That's what every libertarian says, right? And then they think they're special because they're more libertarian. If you're someone who every answer is get government out of it, you're not special. You're like every other silly libertarian on the planet. That's who you are. And you think you're special. If you're listening now and your feelings are hurt, too bad. Your feelings need to be hurt now because you're not that important.
No.
Come up with an actual plan to fix something, and now I'll be impressed. So my plans that I had still exist. Why? I live in the least free state in the union as graded by Cato 5 years in a row. I'm not going to become anarchist tomorrow. That's not a thing. So I have to not be super oppressive. I've got to go to just regular oppressive, right? If I can just get to regular oppressive, I'm good. So my plans get us to regular oppressive. My plans get us to ways of raising money that aren't taxation. The average person goes, oh, that makes sense. And they want to hear that and talk about that. What would any libertarian usually say? They'll do one or two things. They'll
Taxation
get very
is
polite.
theft.
They'll just yell taxation
And
is
the
theft
Fed.
or whatever. And the Fed. Why would I want that person on my show? That doesn't say my show, The Sharpe Way. When do you see libertarians in my show? You don't. They're boring. You don't see libertarians in my show?
Hey,
It's a
Has
non-libertarian
Doug-
show.
Has Doug been on your
Marcus
show?
resembles that.
I have been on. Well, I've been on the one show. Yes.
Hold on.
No, then Larry's
Hold
statement
on.
is false.
No.
It's
There's
I'm
an
not a real
exception.
libertarian.
I've
There's an
also been on
exception.
there.
Hold
Right.
on. There's an exception. The exception is
A
candidates.
candidate.
I will always support candidates no matter what. Whenever they ask, they get
Yeah.
on. Candidates get on all the time. Candidates do, but average libertarians, you got nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing to
new.
say. You
I-
get on my show.
I'm actually shocked by myself and quite disappointed with myself that I reached out
Just
to-
now? For real?
Yeah. Can I finish my statement, sir?
Marcus,
I'm just
run
surprised.
for
I'm
office.
surprised at how slow you are that you are just now disappointed in you.
Wow. And the reason why I was disappointed in myself because I actually reached out to Tub to be a host on this podcast.
What a
When
smart
he
move
is
you
one
made.
of the most unqualified people that I've ever come across in my entire existence. And it behooves me to speak upon this fact that Tub only brings in the lower class people that we need as part of our libertarian caucus. Because our
I'm
caucus,
here to get
Yeah,
the
'cause-
black audience.
Hey.
I'm for the
Yeah.
black audience.
That's what he's for. That's why I'm
Yeah,
here.
because Marcus doesn't reach the black people. That's what I'm here for.
I came because Tubbs on this show, not because you, Marcus. Sorry, it's true.
oh my bad, I thought we had a
Hey.
connection with
Actually,
the
I
New
think,
York
No.
room.
Hey.
I think he already knew that. I think,
It's all about Tubb. It's all about
I
Tubb.
think-
Sorry.
Honestly, I want to give a shout out to D, my virtual assistant, that VA lady. That's really why
Thank you
Larry's
very
on this show.
Yeah.
So let's give a shout out to that Liberty lady, and I think I don't see a comment from her other one, but virtual assistant, my virtual assistant, whatever.
I don't know
you
how she
call
does
it
it
there,
all.
That Liberty lady.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
I don't
the,
know,
here-
man.
here's
She's
the
great.
reality, guys. My show, which doesn't make any money at all, has a team. And so I bring people together and I teach them how to do these things. They help me out, figure these things out. And this way she can be good with my show. And then she can then help out your show. And she can help out the
Right.
next show. She
Yeah.
learns with me and then goes someplace else. That's the issue, right? So that's the whole goal. So yes, I will very
All right,
often,
so
because I'm popular as a libertarian, I will tell someone like my VA lady, my Liberty lady, I'll say, act as my agent and go out and reach out to people. Now she starts to get connections with people. This way I can share my connections with people. She becomes the connector. So now when Tubb does his show, she now can use her same connections to get Tubb on shows. That's why I do that. I have like 3 or 4 people. Missy's another one who works for me. I do a bunch of them to make that happen.
She's got to be pretty amazing if she's going to get me on shows. Let's be very clear. You
Yeah.
clearly
She's
don't
pretty
give her
good.
enough credit.
Yeah.
You need to
She's
give her
pretty
more
good.
credit. So, listen, I
Tub
don't
is
know.
the definition of DEI. He's
Hey,
Listen,
I'm going to get a beer.
The only reason you have a job now with the government is because of DEI. All right, let's be very clear. Now,
Wow.
I don't know if we're sticking to our hour. I don't know what your schedule is there, Mr. Sharpe. So, but I do want to ask you this. All right.
Please.
The Libertarian Party, have we already peaked and now we're down, or are our best days still ahead of us?
I still think that our best days are ahead of us. I do. I think our last peak, again, I'll say it again, it was the Gary Johnson days. Those days were very good for us. They were good for us. But those days are long gone. We have to accept that as true. We have to find someone else who can make that work. I had hoped it was Lars. I wanted the party to pick Lars to run last year. I think he could have done it. I really believe he could have done it. But clearly the party was like, we care more about virtue signaling than actually doing something. So that was a no. I hope next presidential run, we can get ourselves back together and find the right person to run.
Are you open to running the next time around? Listen, this is me asking the question.
Yeah. No. I am always open to running if I think I can make impact. I do not believe, and I say it all the time, I do not believe in running just to run. It's a colossal waste of time and money. And it gives donor burnout, volunteer burnout. I don't want to run unless I think I can make some type of impact, whatever that might be. I have not run for president at all because I never thought I could get the 5% or make impact. That's what I want. I never thought I could do it. I thought Lars could do it.
All right. So Larry, Tub, remember that. Sorry, Marcus. I want to interject. Larry, pretend you're not interested in running, but you are very interested in the very best libertarian ticket in 2028. Who is your presidential and vice presidential choices for that dream?
Oh,
ticket?
God. If I could get a dream ticket, to be forward with you, I'll be very honest, as I always am. I think the best ticket is actually me on as VP, because I'm a very good surrogate. I'm a very good fundraiser, right? I'm a great surrogate and a great fundraiser, and I'm good at policy. So those three things makes me.
I agree with all that.
So that's one of the best way. I'm one of the best support. VP is support staff. That's what it is.
Okay.
Support staff.
Okay.
And I'm one of the best when it comes to support staff. We need somebody ahead at the top of the ticket who is charismatic enough, not crazy, enough, has can fundraise that there's no tomorrow, and is establishment enough to get on some mainstream media. Those three things. So I would love, look, my magical world is a Massey Sharpe ticket.
Oh, Massey. I thought you were going to say Amash. You
I will take Amash. I will take Amash. I'll take Amash.
Listen, hold on.
But Massey right now is actually, hold on. Massey right now is more popular than Amash right now is.
Oh, yeah.
He's more popular.
He always
That
is.
is huge.
If I could get my magic, you said magic. If I can get my magic perfect ticket, it's Massey Sharpe.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, hang on.
Genius. That's genius.
All right, so if Thomas Massey reached out to you and says, "Hey, we're going to run, but it's not going to be libertarian," do you do it?
No.
So you're saying that has to,
and I say why, because I'll tell you why. He can't win a Republican primary. It's a waste of time. It's not going to make any sense. It's not going to work.
That is, yeah.
But what if he said we're not?
If I believed, I'll be very clear. If I honestly believe, and I do not, but if I honestly believed that he could win a Republican primary and be the Republican nominee, I would consider it.
What if there's independent?
He won't get a ballot. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, what if he did? What if he did the Kennedy route?
Kennedy
he didn't get on all 50
Kennedy
states.
didn't get on the ballots.
No, listen, Kenny was getting work done for. If you think about what he was doing as a guy on his own, basically, he did better than we do.
Yeah,
hold on, guys. I worked for his PAC. I was his surrogate last year. I worked for his PAC. I worked for his PAC. I was his surrogate last year. I know exactly what happened there. 100%. His campaign raised over 30 million, and the PACs raised over 30 million. If I thought Massey could raise $60 million, I'd consider it. I would consider it. But he's got to be able to raise. RFK Jr. spent $20 million on ballot access and couldn't get enough of the states. $20 million.
It's ridiculous.
So if you think Massey, if I believed Massey could raise $60 million, I'd consider independent. I don't want to run. I have a show with my name on it. I don't require this whole idea of a vanity run is useless to me. I don't want a vanity run. If I'm going to sit out there and bust my rump and take a year out of my life, if I'm going to sit here and bug you guys all to give me money, give me time, do this, do that, which I will be bugging all of you. If I'm president, I will be bugging you all. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it because I think we can make impact. So if I believed that Massey could either raise $60 million independent, run libertarian, or actually win a Republican primary, I'd consider it.
So I just
right.
want to add to this. Sorry, Marcus, but
Yeah.
right here, Larry Sharpe said he thinks, and I kind of agree with him, he is the best option for VP candidate for the Libertarian ticket. Basically,
I don't see a better
that's
one.
what he said. So who would be the second best VP candidate?
I would say
That's
me.
tough.
Right now, that
me.
person is actually Spike Cohen.
I think I agree with that.
I don't think if he would do it because he's already been number 2. He's going to be number 2 again.
I don't
But you asked me who the person is.
Yeah.
The person is Spike Cohen. I just don't think he would do it. But he's the next best because he's done it before. He knows how to be a support staff. He's popular. He can get on. He's a good surrogate. He's number 2. But I don't think he would do it.
These are some bangers. These are bangers. Highlights. I can't wait for that VA
Yes.
lady to chop these
But again,
up.
I don't think he'll do it. But if you just asked who was, he's the guy. He's number 2. Yes.
All right. So going back to Gary Johnson, he got over 4 million votes.
Yes,
And
about
then
4.5, 3%.
George Jorgensen got less, about 2 million, I think.
Yep.
And then Chase got under 700,000.
I warned everybody of this, and I'm going to try not to get triggered. I'm going to try not to. I said on every podcast before we went there, I said every phone call I made to everybody, and I said at the convention, I said, if you guys don't vote for Lars Mapstead, it doesn't matter whether you get Chase or Rechtenwald, 4 things are going to happen. Number 1, we're not even going to raise $1 million, maybe $500,000, and that's all we raised. Number 2, we're not going to break 3%. We're going to come in 5th. We're going to come in 5th. And we did because Jill Stein was getting anti-war Democratic money. And I told everybody this. So we're not going to get the anti-war money this year, right? Because she was getting it. And RFKG was getting all the independent money. So we weren't going to get that either. That money was not there for us last year. And I told them, they didn't want to hear it. We got a virtue signal. Chase is easy. Transgender kids or whatever horseshit they said, right? Yelled about that. Or Breckenwald hates Jews or whatever they said. I don't care. Whatever they were yelling and screaming at each other, which meant nothing because nobody cares. And they're all forgotten already.
These things might have been true, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter is my point. No one cares. It's all
Wasn't he a New Yorker?
Right?
Isn't Rechtenwald in New York?
He's a Pennsylvanian. He's Pennsylvanian.
All right.
But anyway, my point being, I told them that, and I said we're going to lose ballot access. We won't get it in New York State. We didn't. And the last thing I said is, and the fighting in the party will be legendary. And it was. We're still suing each other. Why?
Yeah.
Because if one side wins, the other side burns.
Larry,
so you have to make sure neither side wins. And I said this publicly. All 4, I said, all 4 came true.
Yeah. I hung out with Chase twice out here in California, and he struck me as an individual that truly believed in libertarian principles. His policy on transgender kids was identical to Trump's, where he said, the parents need to do that. I don't understand why people think they need to interject themselves in how you raise your kids, because I don't think they truly understand what they're asking for. Because what I call this all the time, it's the pendulum of stupidity as far as the duopoly.
Like that.
We go back and forth between the stupid Republicans messing up, and then there was like, I'm voting Democrat now because the Republicans messed up. It's that 25-30% of the American population that decides the electoral results because they're like, oh, this guy didn't improve my economic situation, so I'm going to vote for this guy. And that'll teach him. And that's where Biden failed. Biden was a horrible candidate. He should have got out of the race. He was supposed to be a 4-year president. He should have got out of the race immediately because he was not a guy. He was not a 2-term guy. He was too damn old and senile.
Yep.
But, and I firmly believe also that COVID shifted America right.
Yep.
And a lot of people like to blame Biden for the lockdowns and, the mask and all that stuff. But that started in March 2020. That's when my kids were pulled out of school. That's when my son lost a year of baseball. And if you're doing your math, who was president in March 2020? And that's where
it was Kamala Harris. It was Kamala Harris. Let's blame her.
Yeah, that's where I talk about precedent. where you're giving the government power, and government never relinquishes power when you give it more. And it baffles me that Americans don't understand that. Because what if Biden was superseding courts right now, or Harris was saying the courts don't matter right now? You need to look at your politician and put that into perspective if the other party was in charge.
Yep.
When you look at what they're doing. Because
isn't this where we started talking about the big beautiful bill? Is it like it's all like it's come full circle right there? Now,
Yeah.
real quick before I mention something about that, I want to make it very clear. You thought you were just taking a shot at Larry when you mentioned how Rechtenwald was from New York. Kamala Harris is from California. All right,
Yep.
so that's yours.
Yeah.
I never go around insulting you like that, Tub.
Now let me tell you something real quick.
That's a malarkey.
So,
we gotta mention it 3 times on here. Remember, malarkey.
A malarkey. So on Tuesday.
Okay, go ahead.
On Tuesday, so I was up in DC Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon. So on Tuesday, I did a Capitol tour. So I was sitting in Aaron Bean, he's our representative here, and I'm sitting in his office, and all his lackeys are around. And because my tour got pushed back because Trump was up there plugging his big beautiful bill. And so everything got pushed back, and they had it up on the thing, and I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, can you believe this? They're like, what? I said, yeah, he's stirring all this up. I says, I remember not too long ago, we wanted single issue bills. I said, I've been saying that all along. I said, I remember not too long ago, everybody on this side was talking about how, oh, we don't want all these big bills. And the guy who is working for Aaron Bean looks right at me, is sitting in his office. He goes, yeah, but I think Trump just wanted to get it all done at one time. One fell swoop is how he referred to it.
Yep.
And I just and I just looked at him like I don't know what he, for some reason he thought I was retarded, like, because
I agree.
just staring back at him, and I'm like, but wait a minute, before we didn't like that, but that's how they justified it. My
100%.
team is doing it, and if my team is doing it, it's fine. And I think this right here, I think in all honesty, what's happening, because it was today. Today they voted on it, right? That was today. Yeah, it was today, right? Earlier today they voted on it, passed through the House. And it should show everybody that politics is a game. And all they really care about is their team. It's not the country. It's nothing else. It's their team. And this could be a great opportunity for libertarians to just take what's just happened with this one bill. With this one bill, libertarians can easily come together and go, hey, guys, I thought they hated this. And you can point out both sides. And we would have then a point that we could come together, speak against, like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe these guys are right. Maybe these crazy libertarians have a point. I have
to go one step further with this. Your concept is true, and we have to go one step further. Okay, now what's our plan?
There's our problem.
I like the it's bad. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Now what are we going to do? Remember, people always say all the time. They ask me, they say, Larry, when is this country going to get so bad that all of a sudden now we actually do something, we actually move forward and make change? And I say, it doesn't matter. It'll stay. We'll just stay bad. It's called learned helplessness. It's actually a technical term for it. We just stay. We turn when things are bad, and there is hope. Those two things together is when we begin to change and do something. Now, whether you like Trump or Obama, both of them won because both of them projected hope. Literally, Obama said literally hope and change. That was the left
word.
Hope. Use the word. And yes, and Trump said, make America great again. Hope. Both of them gave hope, left-leaning hope, right-leaning hope, whatever. They both gave hope. If libertarians, we don't do that. We just go, government bad. We don't provide hope.
I love the ironical approach you just said with that. Government bad. Tub is hating because Tub doesn't like us. But yeah.
My point is, I don't mind government bad. I don't mind Tub saying, these guys are wrong. We now then have to say, but yes, here comes the answer, right? That's the issue. So do this. So act this way. So here's a better plan. If we have that, we're good. Without that part, it's just more yelling at people.
Well, libertarians completely failed at the last election cycle because I said this for 2-3 years prior. This is our best chance to make a national impact on the national scene because nobody liked Biden and nobody liked Trump. Nobody wanted that matchup again.
True.
And then when they put Harris in there, everybody was like, damn, this is worse than Biden.
This is worse,
Yep.
yes.
Yes.
And the Libertarian Party could not capitalize upon that.
Nope.
That was failed leadership. You know, like you said, you know, you didn't bash Angela. But in hindsight, we had a golden opportunity. We had great candidates. Lars was on here 3 times prior to the election. Lars impressed me to no end. And he is a genuine individual. And I'm not going to besmirch Chase by no means, because I sat there on the couch in beautiful Bel Air, California, the 4th largest economy in the world, by the way. But I sat there and on the couch with Chase and talked to him about libertarian shit, and I was duly impressed. But I knew
100%.
because this election cycle was more of a culture war than a liberty war, and it was a culture war because the way the media frames things, where they pit us against each other. Because, like I said, every day we go to work with people we completely disagree with politically, and Americans get the job done, and then they go home, turn on the stupid box, and listen to people that tell them why they should hate the people that they are successful with in their economic lives, but they're socially, you should hate them because of X, Y, and A, as Larry put it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the Libertarian Party fails, is because that's low-hanging fruit where we can present that narrative to people of like, you're not getting any better because you vote for the D or the R, but you can get better if you vote for the LP.
Yep.
No, you can get better if you just yell, end the Fed. End the Fed. All you do is yell that. So, Mr. Sharpe, in order to get us probably to where we're probably running out of time, let me ask you a quick question. If it was indeed for the Libertarian Party this last cycle around, if it was a Lars and Larry ticket, what would have been different?
Wow. Now you got me going. I'm gonna tell you what would happen. First thing would happen is Lars already agreed to put $1 million of his own dollars into the campaign. Off the bat, $1 million influence into the campaign right away. The second that happens, we start buying software. He's a software guy. We would have had specialized software that would have got us to target where we had to target. He already had a team set up in Nebraska, in Omaha, which, by the way, Omaha went independent. So we would have won Omaha. There would have been a gold blip on the map. And he already had a team in Maine. Already had it already set. Not just that, Lars has wealthy friends. They already agreed to create a PAC. He would have had a PAC with another $5 million in it. $6 million bucks right there. With that, we now raise money with that, right? I was working for the RFK Jr. PAC. I had already made a connection between Lars and RFK Jr. RFK Jr. was going to work on some other states while we worked on these two so that we could actually win some. The goal was to break it up. This was the goal we had talked about. And I told people this. I told them this. I said we would take it to where our goal was to throw it into the Congress. And then maybe RFK Jr. had a chance at winning if he could, and he would have picked one of us or some of us to join his campaign, to be part of his cabinet, because we would have got them there. That was the whole goal. It was already talked about. And I was talking to them. If you remember, if you think I'm making this up, you remember after RFK Jr. dropped out, and anyone who's watching and check this out, RFK Jr.'s team still tried to get on the ballot in New York. Why? He dropped out. Why? Because I already made a deal with them. He gets on a ballot in New York, gets ballot access. I become the party chair, and I give the party to the LP. The LP has ballot access in New York State. That was the entire plan. No one had a plan to get ballot access in New York State. Only I did, because I knew what I was doing. Would the LP help me? No, the LP did something stupid, as they always do. All they did was just go, yes, let that happen. I would have had a party. It would have been my party. That's how New York State works. I then go to Angela. Angela, by the way, didn't know. I did tell her. I say, Angela, you're going to then authorize my party to be the New York State affiliate, the Libertarian Party affiliate in New York State. Done. Ballot access. That's how it works. That's how we got it.
Larry's
that was the entire plan.
Freaking genius.
And no one wanted to hear it because we would rather yell Chase is bad or Rectenwald's bad or Mises Caucus or CLC for garbage that, again, nobody cares about. It's not, no one's talking about it. Nobody cares. It was a civil war. No one watched. Nobody cares. We cared. No one else did. Yeah. So not just that, though. The cash would have come up. But on top of that, if Lars would have actually made this happen, we also have, by the way, the second person who I was talking to was RFK Jr.'s running mate, Nicole Shanahan.
I love her.
Nicole Shanahan is also a multimillionaire, almost a billionaire. Once RFK drops, what happens? All of their supporters come to us. We would have got all those votes, all those donors, all that money. They all know all the heavy hitters, like the Joe Rogans of the world, all of those people. We get on all those podcasts. We get on all those podcasts. I guarantee you we'd have broke 5%, and we would have won at least Omaha and maybe Maine. If RFK Jr. still drops out, we get at least half of his votes, right? At least half, if not more, plus all his donors who are pissed off at him, who would have come to us. So we would have raised at least $15, $20 million. Easy. We would have raised $15, $20 million. We would have got 5%, and we would have taken Omaha for sure. The date is in. We would have won Omaha. We might have won Maine too. So we might have taken 2 electoral votes. We still have lost the election. Trump will still be president. But we would have taken 2 electoral votes and broken 5%. That would have been the victory we needed to unite the party. That's what was my entire plan. And Libertarian Party never listens to me ever. They didn't listen to me in 2016, listen to me in 2020, listen to me in 2024. Maybe in 2028 they'll listen.
Hey, I know Stephen and Caleb. Yeah. Let's keep them chair. Let's make sure they listen to Larry.
I just went raise money for him just this weekend. I was in Michigan.
Yeah. He's been on here too. Like I said, this is I'm not going to besmirch you and say the Sharpe Way is not a libertarian podcast, but because it is. But I will say I'm the only real libertarian, and you know
it says so right there. I can read it. Yeah,
yeah, and everybody
he
needs
says
to.
He was, so he is.
What? What's that say?
The self-proclaimed only. You know what? You can keep that title. I don't want to be the only real libertarian because I've seen what a lot of the things libertarians do. I don't want to be the main one for that.
I was gonna make the point earlier. Maybe it's better to be the only kinda libertarian.
A lot of Larry Sharpe's policies are kinda libertarian. They're not real libertarian, but they are successful. And his game plan could have worked.
Yep.
But maybe drop the only real and be like the only kind of libertarian.
I'm picking that up.
That's a whole lot of malarkey there, Eric. We've exceeded our malarkey quota quite proficiently tonight.
I'm the only kind of libertarian.
So I'm going to ask, and we're going to start wrapping this up. I'm going to ask Larry, if you were the chair of the LNC right now, what would be your main focus? I think we kind of touched on this, but I want to reiterate
3 things. Here's why I cannot be chair. 2 reasons why I can't be chair. Number 1, the first reason why I can't be chair is I would have to be paid, right? There's no way I could do it. I just couldn't. I can't. I live in New York City. There's no way I could do it without being paid. Impossible. So that would mean I would have to somehow get paid, which I don't know how that happens. We don't have any money. So maybe someone else decides they love Libertarian Party. They start writing me a check every month. Maybe that'd be the only other way. But so that's number 2. I would tell people in advance, I am going to be a transparent tyrant. The system is broken, and the people in it don't know what they're doing and fight over commas and periods. I will end that. And I will do it as a tyrant. So please don't vote for me unless you're voting for a tyrant. But I will be transparent. I will tell you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I'll tell you in advance. And if you vote me out in 2 years, then I get voted out. But I will be I will not use Robert's rules, a waste of time. I am getting rid of the entire platform. It's stupid. It has no value whatsoever. We should only have the statement of principles and then let the candidates have their own platforms. The Democrats, Republicans don't have platforms anymore.
No.
Why should we? They don't have it. Why should we? The platform is just a reason for people to look and say no. No platform for the party. And another reason is to make us sit in rooms for hours and hours fighting over a platform piece that no one cares about.
Nobody
anyway.
cares about.
Nobody
It's
cares
created
about.
by the feds. Created by the
Does it?
feds. like I
Yes,
said.
irrelevant. So that goes away. Our platform goes away. Robert's rules goes out the window, and we focus on two things only, with one thing on the side, but two things main, one on the side. Two things. One, ballot access, raising money. On the side, candidate surrogacy. That's it. Those three
Oh, what was
things.
that? What was that? What was that one on the side?
Candidate surrogacy. So if there's someone who needs to talk and a candidate can't make it, then the Libertarian Party is the center hub where we call up and go, Tub, I got a guy in Florida needs to talk about something libertarian. I need you to get on a show. Can you do a show?
Got it. Okay.
I need you to do a show. Eric, I got a guy in North Carolina. He can't make it. He's doing so-and-so. Can you do me a favor? Can you show up? Can you do this? Can you get to Charlotte this weekend? Yes, great. That's what it is. That's what it is. So when candidates can't do stuff, the center, and that's what I've been doing, Gary Johnson. I actually didn't work for the Gary Johnson campaign. I worked for the LP. And I literally stood in for Gary Johnson on TV. I stood in for, because I live in New York City. So whenever there was a New York City thing, I would show up in Gary Johnson's stead. And LP would call me, Larry, yeah, I'll come, sure. We should be a hub.
That's
right?
cool.
So now Politico tries getting a hold of Eric as he's running. His team can't get a hold of him. Politico calls the LP. We got you. What do you need? Statement? We'll get it for you. We got you. Yes. That's the side.
All right. So, Tub, your closing question.
Do you think we have the?
Say again?
So I can't ask him a follow-up question to that. So do you think that we have the ability to be that efficient though?
If the person at top is a tyrant, that's the whole point.
Okay.
That's the point. If the
Run it
person at top
like
is a tyrant, runs it like a business. Correct. Runs like a business and says, okay. And they go, but Larry, Robert's rule says we have to talk about this. No, shut up. No, shut up.
I think that's one good thing about Stephen Nikela is I don't know if he's a CEO, but he is a businessman and he's a manager of
about that stuff.
Successful. But my point is like he's gotten that experience.
What does he do? That we want to do what do they call it again when they do a proclamation, whatever that's called, whatever they call it. You know what I'm talking about, right? We're gonna
press release.
No, we're gonna say that we stand against this or stand against that. Utterly useless. We do none of those.
Yeah,
we do none of those. Yeah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We're not doing it. No one reads it. Nobody cares. It's self-righteous. None of those. Larry, we want to do a proclamation. No, we're not. No. Next. What this meeting is about raising money, getting ballot access, and supporting candidates. But we want to do other stuff that makes me feel good about myself. Leave. Done. Leave. Go join Cato or go join some local group and go do you, man. I'm fine. But this organization is about ballot access, raising money, and supporting candidates. That's it. If what you're telling me does not have anything to do with those three things, I don't want to talk to you. And we need that for about 4 years because that will then change the culture to where we become that. Then I can step away from my tyrannical ways and we can go back to normal. And I would tell people that in advance. So if they don't vote for me, no worries. That's why they would never vote for me. Libertarians would never vote for this. Because they would never vote for it. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I can't be chair. Because I would tell people in advance, if you vote for me, you are voting for a tyrant. So when I'm tyrannical,
don't be surprised.
Don't cry. Or don't vote for me. Either one.
Listen, I actually said that a lot about Obama. I said, y'all are fussing, but he kind of told you what he was going to do. Like, he's pretty forthright about it. Like, okay.
Trump's doing it too.
Yeah.
Trump said it. Trump said he'd give us tariffs.
And here we are. All right, go ahead, Mr. Matthews.
I want to pass the mic to Eric on his closing question, comments, or whatever.
Well, all I got to say is from the great state of North Carolina, last time we talked, you were thinking about a potential move, but I guess you've changed your mind. North Carolina isn't. What can I do to plead you to move here? Do I got to get Marcus to move here? He's leaning towards moving here, right, Marcus?
Well, the funny thing is, I
can have Marcus.
I think I told people this story. I actually was considering moving to Charlotte because to do what I do, I'm a business consultant. My day job is business consultant. So I need to have big business around me so I can pay my bills. Charlotte's a big city, has a lot of big businesses there. So I thought, well, maybe I move there. But when I went there, I thought I could sell my shoebox of a house in New York City and buy a mansion in North Carolina and pay less money, right? And pay less taxes. So I got angry. Instead of moving, I was like, I'm going to fix my state. I'm going to go run for governor and win. That did not happen. But that was my goal. I was going to do that. And then I started thinking, I don't know if I want North Carolina, because people started telling me about Tennessee. I thought about Chattanooga, because Chattanooga is halfway between Atlanta and Nashville, two big hubs, because I often fly places. So I thought of that's the one advantage of being in New York City. There aren't many of them, but one of them is it's a hub, 3 airports. I can get direct flight almost any place, right? That's one advantage. I can get, if it's not out of Newark, it's out of JFK, or if it's out of LaGuardia. So I got 3 massive airports that I can get a direct flight out of. That's one advantage. But I thought I'll go there because I have Memphis and I have Nashville and Atlanta. No state income tax. But the people who have absolutely been wooing me the most have been the free staters up in New Hampshire. And again, no state income tax, great gun laws, low crime, and an hour out of Boston. So I can actually still get to a hub if I need to. So I'm now leaning towards New Hampshire. I'm leaning. But I'm still stuck here in New York City.
You hear that, Free State Project? He broke it here. I don't know if he broke it here, but we're saying he broke it here.
They'll
Larry
mess it
Sharpe
up. They'll mess it up.
might be leaning towards New Hampshire.
Shout out to Eric Brakey. We love that guy. He's been on here.
He's one of the guys who's been bugging me. He's one of them. Yep.
He is a friend of the show, and we truly love him. We need to have him on within the next month or so. I'm going to reach out to him because he's always speaking the righteousness of liberty. My closing question to you is, how do you see the Libertarian Party going forward over because we still have about 2.5 years before we start talking about presidential candidates and whatnot. How do you see the Libertarian Party coalescing around a candidate? You mentioned your dream candidates, but how do we become more successful where we get more than 700? We need to get back to that 2 million to 4 million vote threshold that we had previously. How do we get back?
Let me add a couple things if I could. One is, as I said, as I've some of things I'd change. One more thing I would change. We should not be electing officers the same year that we do the presidents. We should be doing a convention every year, not every other year, every year, because we raise money for it and it brings us all together and it motivates us. We should be doing a convention every year. And on odd years is when we select our team, our new, leadership. And even years is when we do our candidates. So that's number one. Number two, we have to focus on executives. And this may make people feel unhappy, but the way America works is executives is who we pay attention to, meaning governors, mayors, presidents. We don't pay attention to senators. We don't pay attention to congressmen. It's simply American policies, American code. We don't do it. There's tons of liberty, this or that. We don't pay attention. Who do we pay? We pay more attention to Jared Polis, the guy from Colorado, who's Democrat, than we do to Justin Amash. Why? He's governor, right? We care about executives. So on the years we can't do presidents, we've got to focus on our gubernatorial or governor candidates, and we don't. How do I know? Because the Libertarian Party ignored me in 2022, and that's why I couldn't get in the ballot, and so I don't have ballot access in New York State. Because we didn't matter. They were too worried about fighting their culture wars in Reno and COC and MC and that stupidity, which meant nothing yet again. And we're clear. Everyone who's listening, who fought so hard for that Civil War, look at what it got you. Nothing.
They got the war. They got the war they wanted.
They got the war.
Regardless of what side you were on,
you just burned your own house down for nothing. Now, what you should think is, Larry didn't jump in the war. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have jumped in either.
Well, the thing is, they wanted the war, they got it, but they had no solution for after it.
No.
Yep, 100%. So
another
piece I'll say, Marcus, if you want someone to get together, they have to support a gubernatorial governor candidate in 2026. I may run in New York. If it's me, jump on my train. If it's someone else who's running, jump on their train. But you want to jump on an executive race in 2026 that's going to be popular. Get everyone behind that person. Because you asked Eric, how did I get on Joe Rogan? It wasn't just because I'm good looking. I mean, I am stunningly good looking, but that isn't the reason why. I got on because my team was crazy, pumping stuff, saying, look at these cool policies, look at these cool ideas. And his people went, these are cool ideas, and brought it to Joe. And Joe went, these are cool ideas. But that's because a bunch of people were doing that. Now, how can we do that if we don't care about our candidate? We don't care about a gubernatorial candidate. That's the piece.
I want to point this comment out.
Did Cub have a closing thing, or
no, I'm sorry. I need to point this out real quick because this is a dear friend of the show, and she's a dear friend of Mr. Sharpe as well. Larry loves his state, though.
True. I do love New York. You're not wrong. She's not wrong. I do. I want to fix it. My state's beautiful. It's like California. California's a beautiful state.
It is beautiful. You guys,
the government's garbage. It's the government that's garbage, not the state. The state itself is beautiful. For those of you who want to come to New York, visiting New York is wonderful. Living here is horrible, but visiting is great.
I will say the best thing about New York is its water, because when I dropped my son off 4 years ago at college on Staten Island, I had pizza in New York. The pizza in New York is epic. There is no place in the United States where you will get better pizza than in New York. So much so that I literally brought back water from New York because the first time I didn't eat pizza here in California for easily 6 to 8 months because I was so disappointed with the pizza here. Last time I went, I brought back water, and I actually used it in my pizza, and I saw the difference firsthand. It is the water of New York. I don't know what it is, the limestone, because I know New York sits on a huge block of granite or limestone. I forgot what it was.
It's bedrock.
Bedrock. And it's literally sinking right now, but I don't know if it's all the mafiosos with cement shoes in the Hudson Bay. Where you guys get your water for? I'm not sure about that, but I told Larry in the pregame, New York is a great place to visit for about 4 to 5 days.
Yep.
And after that, you're just like, okay, that's good enough.
They are the less charismatic California, and I will tell you this: that I gave up on New York years ago. So I used to drive into New Haven, take the metro down into the city, and I'd be in the city.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And I finally got to a point, I go, this place sucks. Like I just had enough of it. And I started going to Boston instead. Boston's way better. It's so less problems, and it's just not New York. So with that, I'm gonna ask my thing and I'll be done. So, Mr. Sharpe, who is your favorite libertarian, and tell me why it's not Marcus?
Whoa.
My current favorite libertarian, believe it or not, is gonna sound crazy, is actually Nicole Shanahan.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Nicole Shanahan, because she is brand new. She still has that new libertarian smell. Like brand
She doesn't know to
new.
hate us yet.
She doesn't know to hate us yet.
It.
She doesn't know any of that. Right? And she gets on a little bit. She has her own show now on Glenn Beck's Blaze.
Yeah.
She has her own show.
She went from Democratic Socialist to posing with Ron Paul for pictures. Like,
and
that's
she called
such
Ron Paul
great hero art.
The modern day Cicero. That's what she called Ron Paul. Modern day Cicero.
I love it.
She is my favorite. Hands down right now, my favorite, because I want her so desperately to come in and be with us. I want her to do that. I want her to come. If she comes, she brings people, money, and she brings something else that we don't have much of. She brings the left. To your point, Eric, we need the left to grow.
And
she
women.
brings the left. And women. Yes, she brings the left. That's what made Trump
and millionaires
win. And millionaires too. And she knows what to do.
She's a venture capitalist. You know what I mean? Like, she's a super wealthy, intelligent.
Yep.
Like, I would love for her to get involved. I've asked her on X, everyone watching this, tag Nicole Shanahan, share this, say, hey, would you like to come on the Black Powder podcast? That's how I've got most of our guests, believe it or not.
Uh-huh.
I want to say that's why I brought Tub on, because he brings the left as well. Because Tub
The
is
one
a
from
right.
you guys.
bleeding heart liberal from the purple state of Florida, and I thought he would bring
Purple?
he would bring
Dude, you're more purple than we are.
he would bring the soft element to he would soften the masculinity of the Black Powder podcast. And that's why I had Tub on here, because that's what I thought he
I
would bring.
civilized y'all. You're welcome. Listen, your number started shooting up once I showed up. All right. Y'all needed an adult in the conversation. Here I was.
Well, you know. Wait, Marcus is older than you.
He is indeed older than me.
Not by
No,
much.
anyways.
But I want to
All right,
thank
Marcus, get us out of here already. The rest of us are on East Coast time. Let's go.
Mr. Sharpe, can you tell the people how to follow you, like you, and any other commercial interest? Because
if they don't know how to do it by now, what's wrong with them? All you have to do is Google Larry Sharpe. I'm the most popular Larry Sharpe on the planet. It's fine. Google Larry Sharpe. I'm everywhere. It's not a popular name, right? Put in Larry Sharpe, you'll see me. But please follow me on the Sharpe Way. Please do so. I do my show almost every night around 7 p.m. ish or so, probably 4 or 5 nights a week. It's live. You can chime in with me. I sometimes have guests, but rarely. I usually just do reactions to stuff. My members send me like videos and I react to it. I talk about stuff. It's a show about culture and politics with a libertarian twist. That's what it really is.
That's beautiful. Eric, do you have anything?
Hey, Larry, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. It was a blast. Good catching up with you.
Of course, brother. It was good seeing you.
So,
Mr. Sharpe, I appreciate your time, sir. And I will mention to you at convention, we were talking and I said, hey, why is it when I text you, I get these simple little answers? And your reply was, Tub. I reply back to you. And I go, all right, thank you for that, Mr. Sharpe. And I thank you for this time tonight.
It's
simple
you're
questions
not
get
wrong.
simple.
There's a lot. I get texted by a lot of people. I respond to you.
Yes, sir.
well, Tub is soft. He's very sensitive, and you have to like placate his emotions whenever
It's coming from Marcus. Marcus is saying this.
The Californian with the 4th largest economy in the world, the most important state in the union. And that's why California is so important to the libertarian movement, because we are the leaders. We are the ones that bring the United States of America into the forefront of economic progress. And I take pride in that principle. And
but New York finances it though, so.
Well, hey, I want to task Marcus with something, and Larry will like this. 1, you're in California.
Yeah.
2, you're trying to connect it with libertarianism. 3, Nicole Shanahan lives in California.
She does.
You are now responsible for getting her to join and get involved.
Wait, what part of California?
Whoa, no. He is not the face of us. No, he is not not him. Not Marcus. No, scrap that idea.
Larry is shaking his head a little too vigorously for my.
Everything was fine till right there, but he should have cut the show 2 minutes ago.
Tub was
right, time to go. Bye. I love y'all.
Yes. Yep.
You know, so this has been the Black Powder Podcast. We want to truly thank our epic guest. This has been one of the best shows ever, top 10 in my book, with Larry Sharpe. I want to thank you so much. When D told us about you, I was like, hell yeah. Tub was like, I don't know. Eric was like, man, you know, these guys were like, whatever. But I was like on board because I followed you on Instagram and Facebook for years now. And I sent you, I actually wrote you a comment on your Instagram page. I'm looking forward to talking to you last week. I was kind of hurt.
I don't go on my Instagram. I don't go on Instagram.
Good for you. Now here's I'm
sorry for you guys to be forward. I don't mean to be mean, but most of the time, when you see me online, it's not me. I rarely go on. It's not me. That's why I have a team. It's D responds, Missy responds as me. Craig will respond. Mike will respond. Yeah, they all respond. It's rarely me. In fact, D goes actually into my Facebook stuff and actually responds to my Facebook stuff. So yeah.
So I need to be mad at her. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
We're already.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
never mad at
Yes.
D. Never mad at
Yes.
D.
But like I
All
said,
right, so-
I want to thank you for not doing your usual bit and coming on here, because that was huge. And I wanted to make sure Tub and Eric was always down. Tub is kind of sus, where we weren't sure he was coming on, but he eventually came on. And
We guilted him into it.
It wasn't an added bonus. It
Yep.
just simply wasn't. But I can't thank you and respect you enough for what you are and what you do. And I truly want to extend our hand of friendship to you, that we may collaborate again, and in the near future. I'm gonna see you in July and
I'll
at
be
the
there.
California LP convention, and we're gonna slap hands and hang out. So thank you very much, Tub, Eric.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
All righty, guys. Have a good one. Tub,
All
always
right,
good to see you, brother.
Go ahead.